Hey everybody, happy Friday. Apparently I just did an entire video and there was no volume, at least not that I could see on my end. So I'm gonna give this another go. As you all know, FaceTime Live is clearly not something I excel at, and I probably should do it more often. If you have any comments today, please send them my way. I'm gonna be trying to pay attention to it in real time. But I wanted to talk about a few things today. One primarily being mental health and brain tumors. And this often comes up a lot of times in our support groups, and that is patients have been kind of diagnosed with mental health issues, whether it's, bipolar, struggling with the manic episodes and personality disorders and or severe depression that seems to be untreatable, as well as high levels of anxiety. And you know what I've really learned is a lot of these patients have been treated for with psychiatric meds for anywhere from 5 to, sometimes 15, 20 years. And here the whole time they actually have, like a 7-centimeter tumor growing in their brain. And then when that comes out, they're actually fine. And so that's really disappointing to me that, as someone who works in mental health and works really hard to be a patient advocate for people, it makes me really sad to know that this is going on. And it really has become present to me that, with psychiatric meds, they're treating these symptoms, not an actual confirmed diagnosis, right? So if they treat your symptoms and it turns out that it worked, then yay, their guessing game was right and perfect. And then if it turns out it didn't work, then they try a new med and they kind of just go down the cycle of medications, which is how they're trained to do, and that's kind of how the system is set up. But I always say in group, I wouldn't put a cast on an arm that I didn't confirm was broken, right? You come in and you're like, oh my God, I really hurt my arm. I don't know if I sprained it. I don't know if I broke it. I don't know if I just bruised it, but either way, it hurts really, really, really bad. And so they do an x-ray and they confirm you don't need a cast. You can use a sling. It'll heal on its own, whatever. Or, wow, you really screwed it up and here's a cast and see you in, 6 to 8 weeks or whatever it is. So it's a little alarming to me that people will treat our mind and our brain and our function, assuming it's a chemical issue, for years and never think hey, I probably should scan this brain with contrast to just confirm I'm working with a clean slate, right? So just wanted to share this awareness because it's not really something that I had put together early on in this condition. I'm 11 years into my diagnosis, 5 years post-craniotomy. Luckily, I haven't had any depressive or any anxiety disorders along the way. Not that I don't get anxious, but it's not something that stops me from living life. But for a lot of people, it does. And those are the patients I'm talking about. And those are the people I think we need to encourage to look a little deeper. And so if that means fighting a little bit harder with your psychiatrist or your GP, whoever kind of manages those conditions, if you know and love anyone who's really, really struggling and none of the psych meds are working, exercise and massage and talk therapy and all those things are also not supporting a recovery in the mental health side of things, then please do consider the brain scan. And MRI, I think, is really important and valuable. And at the very least, it gives you confirmation. Yes, I'm working with a very, clear brain with no trauma to it, no tumors, no trauma that I can see. So it really is a chemical imbalance. Versus just always assuming for years on end that it's a chemical imbalance and finding out it's a brain tumor. So if there's any psychiatrists out there listening who would love to do a research project with me, give me a call. I would love nothing more than for a group of psychiatrists to get together. So if you're listening, pay attention. And whatever your hardest cases are that appear to be untreatable, go send them to get MRI scans, and then let's just see what we're working with. I think the peace of mind before you treat the brain constantly would be nice to know. So that was just kind of something that it comes up in conversation in our support groups once in a while, and I think it's really important that we pay attention to that. And mental health concerns are on the rise. We're post-pandemic. Everybody's stressed. Life is weird. The world is a little crazy. And, maybe we're struggling with just the stressors of that. Maybe we're struggling because we do have a chemical imbalance, or maybe we're struggling because we have a freaking brain tumor and something needs to be done about that. So just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that today. And I don't see any comments, so no questions or anything about that to answer. If anyone's watching and you have them, please let me know. One of the other topics I wanted to talk about today, I wrote it down over here, is it came to my attention today from someone that there was some kind of like a little bit of bullying online that was going on in, I guess, another one of the meningioma groups. Obviously, you all know there's plenty to choose from. Lots of research to be done in this arena. Google can take us many places. But these groups, at least my group, is really to be considerate of all people, all the time on this journey, whether that is a compassionate companion who is your spouse, friend, family member, whatever, whether that's you, the patient who's diagnosed, or if you're a caregiver who kind of works in this field and want to have an outlet to discuss with others. This is your place. And I don't want any bullying. I want everything accepting. And I know that seems like a perfect world scenario. But at the end of the day, I tell people all the time, we may all have a different diagnosis, right? We're carrying different luggage, but we're all on the same plane. Like when you get diagnosed with this, you don't really know if it's a grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, cancer, non-cancer. You just know you have a brain tumor. You just know something has to be done about it. Well, that's not comforting news. Not really the club anyone wants to sign up for. So that is traumatic already. Then you might find out down the road, like in my case, 6 years later, have a craniotomy. I thought I would sit with that tumor in my brain for like 20, 30 years. And here I am, early 40s. And they're like, nope, we need to do surgery. It grew into the main vein and it's got to come out. So wasn't really my plan, but something I had to do. And it was very traumatic for me because I was young and living my life and loving my life. And I didn't want to deal with this. And it seemed absurd that I had no symptoms ever. It was an incidental finding after a car accident, and that I had to go in and have someone drill into my skull and take a tumor out that I don't even feel. And like, what if that accident happened? I wouldn't know that I had this. It's a lot to process. And I am a success story. I did come out perfectly clean on the other side in the sense that my tumor was 99% removed. They had to leave some cells behind on the main vein, but I should be fine. I returned to work and the gym and life and travel and all the things. Yes, I have some anxiety around it. No, I don't like planning my MRIs. I do worry it will come back. I mean, there's elements to this diagnosis that even when you come out really good, it's something you have to live with pretty much forever. I mean, it's not like it's going to go away. I can't even shampoo my hair and not feel my scar. So there's a level of trauma that comes with it. And obviously someone who's diagnosed with cancer who has to do radiation and maybe a second craniotomy and even some chemo, there's more trauma and it feels even heavier. But we all feel it. We all feel it, whether you're grade 1, grade 4, whether you have a craniotomy or you go through the nasal passages to do a surgery, whether you do an awake craniotomy, a sleep one, whether it's 2 hours, whether it's 12 hours. The process, the diagnosis, the changing of your life, the acceptance of the new me is all very much the same. And so again, I just encourage people when you're giving your opinions on social media, when you're making an effort to support someone, that you just keep that in mind, because for all of us, whether we have an easier diagnosis or a harder one, it's still the worst day of our lives, right? It's still the biggest challenge, the worst diagnosis, whatever. And it's a lot to manage, and it's uncertain, and it's scary, and all of the things. So really, this is just a reminder to be kind, and that our group does welcome all conditions, all caregivers, and compassionate companions, if you will, spouses, things like that, because I think it's important that people really understand and remember, we're human. We can only take so much. You know, this diagnosis is scary, and we kind of look at life differently once we're diagnosed. And again, for all those reasons, the diagnosis itself is the same for all of us. Different luggage, different treatments for all of us, different wardrobes along the way. But we really are kind of all on the same, train, if you will, or plane. It's just it's an odd place to be. So that's my reminder to be kindness. And if you're in any groups that don't feel kind, get out. Spend all your time with us. The other thing I wanted to announce is I did just finally, after 3 years of wanting to do this, took a little time to start putting together my sample shop. So Brain Tumor Companion officially has a link for an online shop. I'm wearing one of the sweatshirts, which I will have a lot more of in 2 weeks. I've already placed the order. It will be dark gray and light gray. I have some in stock now, but if anyone wants one, you can actually order it online without having to like text me, DM me, and try to make it happen. So if you are interested in spreading awareness, which I encourage you to do, please do get a cozy sweatshirt or a cozy blanket or whatever for the holiday season. I know a lot of people like to shy away from announcing that they're a brain tumor patient. And I get it. I was really actually like that in the beginning of my journey. But I realize now that suffering alone or keeping it to myself so that I could protect others is not a benefit to me or them. This is a real condition. It changes our lives. And much like you would go to a grocery store and see an end cap in October of everything breast cancer awareness, pink water bottles, hats, t-shirts, socks, all of the things, there is none of that for us. There is no real May Gray honoring and celebration. Like, we have to work hard to get that awareness. And so I really work to wear gray all year round and my logo as often as possible, because I do think it reminds me of kind of the survivorship that I've been through, that a lot of us have been through. And I think it's important that we just embrace it. It's part of us. You know, this is our everyday. It's not like I took the cast off my arm and I don't have to worry about ever getting a scan again or following up with it breaking again. Like, you know, it's not like that. It is not that kind of condition that you just bounce back from and never think about it again. And if there are those people out there, kudos to you. Share your story, because I could learn from it. So again, feel free to get yourself some warm cozies for the winter. Spread awareness if you are willing. It's all very affordable, standard shipping, no crazy hidden fees, taxes and shipping included, USA only. For now, unless you want to pay the extra shipping, I'm happy to send it out of the country. And just one last reminder that when we talked about mental health, I know that probably the hardest 6 weeks of the year for most people are the coming 6 weeks. That as much as the holidays are supposed to be joyous and exciting and celebratory with family and friends and all of those things, it can be very emotional. It can be sad. You can be literally in a room with 30 people and still feel very lonely and sad. And I don't know if that's any of you, but I just encourage everybody to put yourself first. You know, holidays don't have to look like the traditions that were started 20, 30, 40 years ago for us. They can look different. You can spend it with 3 people, not 30 people. Or you can spend it with a lot of people if you always have been alone. Whatever it is that's going to work for you, that will bring you joy and keep kind of your anxieties and your sadness or your fatigue, which is always a really big thing, low. I encourage you to do that. I'm all for setting boundaries. I'm all for being transparent. I think it's important that people not push themselves too hard to do things that they think might feel good, but the whole time they're pushing to do it, it doesn't feel good. And if your body and your mind are telling you, I really don't want to do this, then follow your heart and know that you don't want to do that. And, you know, set a boundary for yourself and just say, hey, I'm going to skip it this year. We're not going to cook. We're going to order in, or, you know, have pizza Thanksgiving instead of turkey and mashed potatoes and all that. Whatever it is, whatever you need to do, just encourage you to find a way to keep it joyful and calm and doable for you, because doable is important. And our energy levels can be really challenged with this condition, especially post-craniotomy. The fatigue kicks in really fast. It kicks in sometimes out of the blue. So just be present with yourself in that way. Be kind to yourself and set realistic boundaries so that you can enjoy them. Before we know it, January 1st will be here and we'll all be celebrating hopefully a new, healthier, happier new year. But for now, let's focus on closing out the new year strong. So November is my favorite month. I do love a month of gratitude. I do love Thanksgiving dinner. I like to cook it. I'm cooking it this year for my in-laws and am excited to do so. So I'm going to look forward to that. I'm going to eat all of the gravy, the mashed potatoes, the turkey, everything. I am that girl. And happy Thanksgiving to you too, Darla. It's good to see you on here. So I am encouraging you to enjoy yours. I'm wishing you all the best. I could really talk all day about this stuff, but I'm sure you're sick of listening to me. I hope this helped even just a few of you. If I could be of any support, reach out, please. I want to hear from you. If you want to join a group session, please do. I host every week. If a one-on-one would be valuable to you, please just email me, text me, whatever, let me know. I'll set aside time so that we can meet and make that happen. really just want everyone to be healthy, happy, and well on their journey of life, because it can be very, very challenging. So have a good one, everybody. Happy holidays. The season has really, truly officially begun. So take care and talk to you later. Bye.